So, listen, I could go into a huge ramble about how much I watched Rugrats when I was younger, how I had the Reptar Nice episode on VHS, or I could say I'm going to make a video about Search for Reptar, and how it's probably where my fear of clowns came from. But let's just state the obvious for now. This movie is better than this one. Yeah, I said it. The first Rugrats movie may have had babies singing about being circumcised, all voiced by famous singers.
Man, they cut my cord.
Oh, consider yourself lucky.
And had that weird monkey cover of one of my guilty pleasures. But Rugrats in Paris is just way better. Oh, and there's a third movie. Anyway, Rugrats in Paris. Back when I was a dumb little baby, a little idiot of a child, a useless freeloader who wasn't even a year old, Rugrats in Paris came out on the 17th of November. Better received and earning more money than the first film, it moved the babies from the US to the fictional city of Paris. Set after season 6, this movie wasn't your Pokemon movie where it wasn't really canon and they can kind of forget about it. This one introduced a new baby to the roster with Kimmy. Although the previous film focused on Tommy and his newly born brother Dill, you're given a new main character in this movie with Chucky and his longing to have a mother like the other kids. This film was the last time Chucky was portrayed by Christine Kavanagh. Christine was not only the voice of Chucky, but the voice of Gosling Mallard, Babe and Dexter. Sadly, they passed away in 2014. Their legacy lives on with their amazing work. There are so much I could talk about, including the banger soundtrack, the crazy plot, and how many times I've watched this movie when I was young. But to talk about all that, I need to go through the entire plot of this movie. Before you ask, yes, this children's movie begins with a parody of The Godfather 2. This sounds like something I would make up as a joke, but yes, Angelica becomes the godfather during the wedding of Lou, Tommy's grandpa, and Lulu. Guess Pop doesn't need that video anymore.
My personal favourite, Lonely Space Vixen. That's for after you go to bed.
But seriously, I have a confession. For many years, this was my only knowledge about The Godfather. So coming back to see this joke...
Father, we found this in our crib.
Speaking of crazy stuff that I didn't make up, this wedding scene alone has some wild song choices. We have KC and the Sunshine Band's That's the Way I Like It, performed by Tracy Amos and These Boots Were Made for Walking, formed by Jerry Halliwell. Yes, that Jerry. A song called When You Love by Sinead O'Connor, and also the DJ for this whole scene is voiced by the original voice actor for Shaggy, Casey Kasem. We get a moment where the Pickles fathers all talk about their late wife and mother in a lead-in to the main story of the movie. Chucky missing his own mother, who passed away, and really wants a new mommy. We then get this part where the Finsters talk about their lost loved one.
Bobby made it for you. Oh, Chucky, your mom was an amazing woman. I'll bet she's in heaven right now looking down on us.
Anyway, Chaz starts online dating that goes...
Look at this one! She loves sunsets, long walks on sandy beaches, and is not allowed in the state of Kentucky.
Not well. Over in Paris, we jump to see what's going to be the focus of the rest of the film. Reptar Land. And I need to get this over with because it's going to bother me for the rest of the video if I don't. Of course it's the parody of Euro Disney, but Euro Disney is miles away from the centre of Paris. We get the joke through about the concept of Euro Disney, which if you know your Disney history, wasn't the most successful venture that Michael Eisner did. Practicality is tough, especially how this location is right in the middle of Paris. So put in our thinking caps, if this was a real location, where would it be? Well, spoilers for later on, but on the way to the Notre Dame, we see the Arc de Triomphe and then the Eiffel Tower in that order. So using the skyline we see and the Siene's curve, we can judge that it's just about round here, in an area that I'm too British to pronounce. While in Reptar Land, we're introduced to our two villains, Coco LaBouche, voiced by the ever iconic Susan Sarandon, and her henchman, Jean-Claude, voiced by Lord Farquaad himself, John Lithgow. Reptar seems to malfunction and they need a designer to fix him. That person being Stu Pickles. Told to bring his friends and family. More background music alert as the babies go through a pre-2001 airport. With annoying children on a flight and a rude hostess, it really felt like I was watching a Ryanair flight. You know there's those like obscure references that you quote all the time? Like this Lilo and Stitch quote from Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch.
Touching me. She's touching me.
I'm not touching you.
You're touching me.
Not touching.
Touching me.
It's free air.
And then there's this one that's ruined nearly every safety video for me.
Look, Philip! Party hats.
And then out of nowhere we get an emotional dagger in the back with I Want a Mum That Will Last Forever, performed by Cyndi Lauper. Hey, Cindy, the girls may be having fun, but I was an emotional wreck during this scene. This whole scene is heartbreaking, and it might be because I just finished the Bluey Marathon and the newest episodes just dropped, and we got these episodes. It hit me hard. We've finally reached where we will now remain for the next 90% of the movie, Paris. With Ludwig's last business expenditure and jet lag, it's time to talk about one of the most famous things that comes from this movie. The Baha Men's Who Let the Dogs Out. Listen, I mentioned the soundtrack is insane, but this one I promise I need to go into more detail about. So, Chapter 1. The underlying feminism of the Baha Men. In 1977, a group called High Voltage was formed by percussionist Isaiah Taylor, Cole Mo Grant and Nehemiah Hild. Their silence can be seen as Junkanoo, which takes traditional Caribbean music and aspects of ska and reggae. They changed their name to the Baha Men and signed with Atlantic Records in 1991 and then signed with S-Curve Records in 1999. However, the song they are most known for wasn't theirs, but in fact a cover of a song called Dougie by Anselm Douglas.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Hey!
Dougie blew up in the Caribbean, but the producer wanted the Baha Men to perform it to get it to reach the rest of the world. It didn't help that the main singer, Nehemiah Hild, just before the song was meant to be recorded, left. He was replaced by 3 younger singers, Rick Carey, Marvin Prosper and Omerit Hild, the nephew of the previous singer. But what has this song got to do with supporting women? I think it's best for Anselm Douglas himself to read through the lyrics.
So the lyric to the song is, the party was nice, the party was pumping, and everybody was having a ball. Till them man start their name calling, and the girls respond to the call. I hear a woman shout out, who let the dogs out?
The song's story is about a people having a good time at a bar, until a group of men enter and begin harassing the women at the bar, thus leading to these men being called dogs, barking for attention, wanting their bone, to say the least. We get the slang that of mealybug, which is a bug that attacks fruit flies, and skeetle, that's an insult to the women themselves. Even the third verse is one of the dogs speaking for themselves, showing how desperate they are and will go for any girl at the bar.
Well, if I am a dog, the party is on. I gotta get my groove on, got my mind, I'm gone.
It is a real Aaron Barr bragging to the Schuyler sisters moment, and this is how the song was made. But it was thanks to the Rugrats that it grew. Though a semi-popular hit before, you now had a song that Nickelodeon can play at any point on their channel to advertise their new movie. Having that many kids listening to it led to even more growth in the Kids' Choice Award victories and the Best Dance Recording on the 2001 Grammy Awards. So, Rugrats in Paris can take claim to be the first movie to use the song, just like how Inspector Gadget will always be the first movie to use All Star in its soundtrack. The social commentary may have been slightly lost through the party nature of it, but now we can all agree. Who Let the Dogs Out is an anthem for calling out female harassment by men. Okay, let's get back to the movie. We meet Kira Watanabe, the assistant to Madame LaBouche, and we get the leading villain's motivation, as Coco wants to be in charge of the Reptar company, and lies that they like children and they're engaged to a man with a child. Catching Angelica, a alliance is set up. Angelica says about Chaz and Chucky and promises not to tell, as long as she gets a huge list of the things she wants. And then we head to a sushi karaoke restaurant for this.
It's karaoke time.
Oh, don't worry me.
I don't know what to address first. The Japanese stereotypes, because sure this movie is littered with them, and it only gets more wild from here. Or the fact that one of these sumo wrestlers is voiced by Frankenfurter Warlock Space himself, Tim Curry. Oh, and the other two? Nobody special. Just Kevin Richardson and Billy West. This scene is insane! Coco begins her quest to court Charles, and this is where Kimmy makes her first appearance. A date is set up under the guise of taking care of the infants. We get a look at Chekhov's giant mechs and a look at the park operations, as we can add one theme park employee to the kill count. Maybe. James may disagree. Coco struggles about taking care of the kids, and Kira acts like an oracle to her Batman.
Gently bounce him up and down.
Things are about to get worse as they ride an It's a Small World parody. I may be a Disney fan, but that thing scares me. Ooey Gooey World, on the other hand, what confuses me? Like, if the goo is sticky, how does the boat move? This movie is making me tempted to message a theme park engineer to ask their opinion. What? You thought I would? No, I'm no Defunctland, and I'm far too distracted about what's coming up next. A security guard chase. But the security guards are ninjas. Not just any ninjas. French ninjas. Like, they just went full prank patrol and went,
Alright then, ninjas! Take us to Prank HQ!
With Anne and Carter serenading this montage, we get visual reel about why Reptar Land should be shut down. No joke, this place has so many OSHA violations that I'm not surprised if Uncle Iroh wanted to find a fall person to take over his company. Oh, I didn't mention before, Mr. Yamaguchi is voiced by the late great Mako. Chaz doesn't even notice the kids are gone on a ride that seems longer than living with the land, and he states that he will not dive into a relationship with Coco unless Chucky likes her. Meanwhile, Spike meets a French poodle. Sleeping in my dream bed, like, look at this. This bed is so cool. I want it. I want this bed. Chucky has a nightmare and, alright, as much as it's a stereotype once again, the Chucky Chan song slaps. Like, this whole sequence is weird, yet I can't look away from this literal fever dream. Angelica hears that Chucky doesn't want Coco as a mommy and wants the princess as a mommy. But who cares about the main plot, because we've got to parody Lady and the Tramp in front of Moulin Rouge, but with instead of spaghetti, it's pizza. Very, very sticky pizza. It's showtime and Coco has a plan. This show's budget is insane because it has a full-scale animatronic and it's only something that Disney could have wished for Fantasmic. Coco replaces the princess mid-performance, tricking Chucky and it's wedding time. Yep, after that performance, Chaz agreed to marry Coco, who took Chucky's bear and almost caused Dill to be severely injured. I just realised something just now while writing this. Dill Pickles. How did it take me that many years to realise that pun? So the babies are taken away by Jean-Claude as well as Angelica, who's been sent away to shut her up. Kira confronts Coco about her intentions of the wedding, leading to this. So the gang are now stuck in a warehouse and Chucky's feeling heartbroken. Angelica does something unthinkable and is kind to him, realising what she did was wrong and confesses what she did. It's now time to break out and there's only one way to do so. A giant Reptar animatronic. Or would this count as a Gundam? It's now a race to the church. That's church being Notre Dame. Let's not question the logistics on how they managed to book it so quickly or so all the money being spent, but there are questions being raised about the lack of children as Coco makes her way down the aisle. Well, I just want to point out how last minute this is. How little guests there are compared to the size of the building. I mean, Coco's side is just employees, like the three sumo wrestler singers. Also, the priest is voiced by Dan Castellaneta, aka Homer Simpson. On the way, the babies pick up Kimmy by committing more property damage, but they aren't in the clear yet. Claude returns in Robo-style, and yep, we've got a robot kaiju Gundam fight in the middle of Paris. The chase is on. Robo-Snail is chasing after Reptar, Kira is cycling and Coco's trying to get through the wedding as quickly as possible. We get to see the police being ineffective, a romantic couple almost killed like a Danganronpa character, and Angelica getting horrible abuse and almost dying multiple times. Like, how did she survive that fall? There are also so many French stereotypes in this scene alone. Like, we have berets and the Eiffel Tower and Jean-Claude singing the La Donna and Mobile while spinning the children around with little care for their well-being. Like, this man just wants to kill these kids, no matter the property damage. There's not be any ladybugs, fix it. Also, when it cuts to the sumo wrestlers during the church scene, it plays this music. So Chucky runs in and says his first words.
Chucky?
Everything unravels, Chaz stops the wedding, Mr. Yamaguchi comes from the shadows and fires Coco, and we see more child abuse, and then this happens.
I see London, I see France, I see Coco's underpants.
Stripped her knickers and Jean-Claude ran off by Spike. These actual criminals get no real punishment. Kira goes to talk to Chaz, and it's time for a real wedding. With more Bobfather shenanigans and a food fight, it's much better than any destination wedding. After all, Chucky now has both a sister and a new mother. They may not be a princess, but they have a heart of one. A mum to read them stories and sing a lullaby. A mum that will last forever. So, final thoughts. This movie is just a fun watch and has a lot of heart to it. It's not just the movie that gave us the iconic Bahaman classic. Many other factors to kind of improve the Rugrats series. The story of Chucky's mum will always make me tear up. I have to admit, there's aspects that haven't aged well, like the Japanese stereotypes. Of course, it's real 2000s energy. It's not a perfect movie, no, not at the least. But it will live on. It's one of the movies that I will remember as my guilty pleasure. Also, there's French ninjas! What am I meant to say about that?
I'm satisfied with this. Be quiet!